Who's next big heavyweight star?
Tom Aspinall, the guy who
Of
just
course, who
won
just
the
won.
interim title. He's phenomenal.
He's the fastest, quickest, most powerful heavyweight on the planet.
And the true champion of this weight class is Tom Aspinall, and it's not even fucking debatable.
In less than just 15 minutes in the UFC cage, Tom Aspinall has beaten 7 out of 8 opponents, all whilst grabbing the interim heavyweight title, which on paper makes him deserving of a title unification bout against real champ Jon Jones.
When you say the Tom-Jon fight would be the biggest of all time, you're talking even bigger than the Brock Lesnar days at heavyweight as well.
Be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history by a long shot.
I think I'm the best heavyweight in the world. That's it. That's it. He thinks he's the best heavyweight. I think I'm the best heavyweight. Let's see.
The champ, however, wants a piece of Alex Pereira instead.
I'm not really worried about the Tom fight. I'm really worried about the Pereira fight. That's what I want to do.
So why does Jon Jones not want to fight Tom Aspinall? Probably because Tom Aspinall goes into beast mode literally every time he steps in the cage. And today, we're looking at 5 of his best moments since debuting in the UFC just 4 years ago. Starting with his 4th UFC fight against Sergey Spivak, who was supposed to be Aspinall's toughest test to date, but was everything except that. Tom Aspinall entered the UFC heavyweight Shark Tank in 2020, and in less than a year, he already had 3 wins on his resume, including one against former champion Andrei Arlovski. In his 4th UFC fight, Aspinall faced who many thought would give him his first real challenge, but the Brits' doubters were about to get a rude awakening. Unlike many MMA fans, Spivak knew that he had a tough task to deal with heading into their fight at UFC Vegas 36 in 2021.
Yeah, I consider him as a pretty strong, tough opponent. He has certain strength, power, explosiveness, and he's completing fights early. So yeah, I consider him as a serious opponent for me.
On fight night, Aspinall steered clear of Spivak's wrestling exchanges and showed incredible hand speed in boxing, knocking Spivak out in just half a round. Aspinall was surprised at how quickly the fight ended, but knew that he was yet to truly show his skills to the UFC fans.
It wasn't what I expected, to be honest. I expected a long fight because this guy is so durable. I can't help but read them comments sometimes and people say, oh, he's going to get taken down, he's going to tire out. Mate, I'm not tiring out, I'm not getting taken down. Like, it went well. I'm an athletic guy, but I'm not like a big muscly guy like a Francis or somebody like that. I think people don't expect me to hit as hard as I do, but no one can take the hits. Like, no one can take them yet. So, yeah, I don't think it's so much the power. I think it's more the speed. They don't see them. So, yeah, I think people don't expect it for sure.
With just 4 wins under his belt, Aspinall bagged his first UFC headliner at UFC London in March 2022, when he battled the scary Russian giant Alexander Volkov, who was expected to topple the Brit like he had already done to the division's best. But once again, Aspinall was about to show that he's truly on a different level. Heading into the fight, Volkov believed his experience would be the key to winning that night.
From my side, I really think that experience, and I showed a lot of fights and performances in the UFC. He didn't have many fights that last for long enough. So we will see how he will be fighting against one of the best.
Aspinall wasn't bothered by his lack of experience, as he had the skills to beat anybody.
A lot of these heavyweights and people who watch this sport and stuff, they think that I'm just good at certain things. And it's not that I'm just good at certain things, I've just not had the opportunity to show what I am good at because I've been in the octagon for such a small amount of time with my fights. So
the fight was an absolute walk in the park for Aspinall, as he outstriked Volkov, quickly took him down and completely smothered him before submitting him with an armbar in under 4 minutes.
Are you happy with the submission, or would you rather the knockout, or how are you feeling about the finish?
I do like knocking people out, I will be honest. For me, knocking someone out is better than a submission. But I'll take the submission over 5 rounds all day.
Aspinall's win over Volkov made the UFC world sit up and realize just how dangerous he truly was.
Tom Aspinall, that motherfucker is dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so fucking quick and explosive for that weight.
Strong.
4 months later, Aspinall was back in the cage against top contender Curtis Blades, but the fight was stopped early due to a knee injury, leading to the Brit suffering a heartbreaking TKO loss, that being his one and only loss in the UFC.
But that bad knee has been bad for years. Mate, I've had that since before I was in the UFC. Yeah. So I've always been like training around it and stuff, and actually, the last camp, and I thought, Blades, it felt really strong. But it does this thing occasionally where like it locks up. Well, it did do. It's fixed now. I've had surgery on it. But it used to like lock up.
After a knee injury and surgery, many believed Aspinall would be out of action for a long time or that he'd lose his edge upon returning. But the Englishman was about to raise the bar in a way no one expected. A year after his devastating injury, Aspinall made his UFC return in July 2023 against Marcin Tybura, who was on a roll with 7 wins in his last 8 fights that had him buzzing with confidence.
There's lots of stuff that I build up, I skilled up. There's, I was jiu-jitsu fighter before. Right now, I don't feel like there is a one thing dominant in my game. I think like I'm well-rounded and fully prepared. I'm a mixed martial artist.
Although he was confident in himself, Tybura complimented Aspinall, acknowledging that he was the real deal.
I see his ground game. I saw his impressive performance with Alexander Volkov. So he's very good. I knew his ground game is on such a high level before.
Aspinall returned to the favour with kind words of his own.
Because he's won 7 of his last 8 in the rankings as a heavyweight. That's a pretty good record, mate, if you ask me. And he's very durable. He doesn't quit, which is pretty rare for a heavyweight. Usually when heavyweights start to get a little bit tired, they start to look for a way out, and he definitely doesn't. He's got loads and loads of experience, and I've took him extremely, extremely seriously.
Despite taking Tybura seriously, Aspinall made it clear who his eyes were really on.
When you've spoken to us in the past and you've talked about wanting to fight Jon Jones one day, but back then you said you weren't ready. Do you think you're ready now?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
With a claim as bold as that, Aspinall couldn't afford to slip up against Tybura. And he didn't, because as soon as the cage door closed, Aspinall put on the pressure, and just over a minute in, he landed a crushing elbow that rocked Tybura, then followed up with a straight right hand that then dropped him and finished the fight by TKO in only 73 seconds.
Double leg, it's right there.
Oh, nice elbow.
Despite securing his 6th win in the UFC, Aspinall felt he needed one more victory to truly earn a title shot, so he called out former title challenger Ciryl Gane to make his case.
How do you think you match up against Ciryl?
I better be careful, apparently. Yeah. I think I match up pretty well against him. I think I'm equally as fast as him. I move equally as well. The difference is I can grapple, and I've got a lot of power. And I think that's pretty undeniable at this stage of my career.
While Aspinall was hoping for a contendership fight, he got something even bigger in the form of a short-notice interim title fight against the scary knockout artist Sergey Pavlovich. And despite having just 17 days to prepare for the biggest fight of his career, Aspinall was once again about to turn the heavyweight division on its head. When Jon Jones pulled out of his heavyweight title defense against Stipe Miocic at UFC 295, Aspinall was offered the chance to face Sergey Pavlovich for the interim title. The Russian was brimming with confidence, riding a streak of 6 first-round finishes.
You know, I might be repeating myself, but I'll say it again. To get here, to be at the spot, there was a lot of work and a lot of steps were made to get here. So I think that I know where I'm at, I have a goal, and I'm going for that goal.
Aspinall was just as confident.
I'm fighting the scariest guy in MMA, in my opinion, in the worst circumstances possible without a training camp. But I obviously think I can win. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who shows up for money or who, you know, I ain't signing a contract and showing up if I don't think I'm going to win. Like, I truly, truly believe that I can win on Saturday night and that I'm going to win. I'm an absolute winner and I'll find a way to win, no matter what the circumstances. So
On fight night, Aspinall wasted no time dispatching Pavlovich, stunning him early with razor-sharp punches and finishing the job with a relentless flurry to claim the interim title in just over a minute into the first round. After the biggest win of his career and becoming the interim champion, Aspinall only had one name on his mind.
Just give me the opportunity, John. Let me do it. Give me my dream fight. Why not? I've just achieved my dream now. Give me my dream fight. Let me fight for my legacy now, please.
With Jones still sidelined by injury and focused on fighting Stipe Miocic rather than unifying the title against Aspinall, the Brit was set to defend his interim belt against Curtis Blaydes, and in that fight, Aspinall would silence any questions surrounding if he was ready for Jon Jones once and for all. Heading into Aspinall's and Blaydes' clash at UFC 304, there was a lot of mutual respect between the two, with Blaydes acknowledging Aspinall as the real champion.
I know John's going to hear this like, what? He doesn't view me as the best heavyweight? No, John, I'm sorry. I don't think he's actually all the heavyweight. I'm sorry. I don't. So, yeah, I view Aspinall as the guy with the real belt.
Who do you consider to be the best heavyweight in the world right now?
Aspinall, 100%.
Aspinall returned the respect by calling Blaydes the toughest fight of his career.
Where would you rank Curtis in the list of your opponents in terms of overall skill set?
Number one. This guy's the hardest fight in my career, easily.
Quite the opposite, Blaydes ended up being one of Aspinall's easiest fights in a list of easy fights, because less than just a minute into the first round, Aspinall dropped Blaydes with a crisp right hand, then quickly followed up and finished the fight by TKO, securing his interim heavyweight title defense in just 60 seconds. After bagging another big win, Aspinall made it clear that his only option now was the heavyweight champion Jon Jones.
Is there a chance you fight anyone other than those two, or does it have to be them next?
Like who?
Be the winner of Cyril and maybe Volkov, eh?
Nah, I want to fight Jon Jones.
But when Jones didn't respond positively and instead insisted that he would be fighting Stipe next, Aspinall took a different approach, launching a verbal assault to get inside Jones's head, acknowledging that Stipe was going to be a way easier challenge than himself.
Obviously, he's going to want to take that fight before me, because it's easier, way easier, way easier. And he knows that I'm the tougher fight for him. Like I say, I'm not going to say he's scared of me, because he isn't, but he's smart in his approach, and he's gonna fight Stipe before me every time.
John was there crossing his fingers and toes tonight, hoping that I'd lose to Curtis. Let's not bullshit about it. Like he posted about it loads anyway that I'm going to lose to him.
Even the MMA community began piling on the pressure, urging Jones to fight Aspinall instead of Miocic.
Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is interesting. I've said before that he could smoke Jon Jones. I said before that Jon Jones couldn't hold a candle or hold a torch to Tom Aspinall. And I respect Jon Jones and I like Jon Jones. And you've got to remember the run that he had and the great achievements that he's had in this incredible sport. But I believe what we saw tonight from Tom Aspinall and what we see every time from Tom Aspinall, I believe that beats anybody.
For me personally, Jon Jones is the GOAT. You know what I mean? He's the best of all time. But if anyone's going to give him a fight, it's Tom Aspinall. You know what I mean? He's got the speed, he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the power, but I don't think Jones will fight him.
Despite the mounting pressure, Jones refused to bow to public demand and held firm on his plan to face Stipe Miocic at UFC 309, ahead of which Bones took verbal jabs at Aspinall, adding more heat to their brewing rivalry.
Well, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him. You know, it's just like his fans have been so annoying. And obviously you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans or whatnot, but he's just an asshole.
Jones went on to dominate Stipe Miocic at UFC 309 as predicted, defending his crown in emphatic fashion with a TKO win in the third round. But during his Octagon interview, he avoided any mention of Tom Aspinall, who was watching from the crowd, hoping that he'd be invited for a face-off inside the ring.
How do you feel right now? You know what? While I got the moment, while everybody's cheering and so happy, I want to acknowledge Jesus Christ.
Is that acknowledging Jesus?
You know, I know that we have options. And so I'm just going to see what Dana wants. But I'll go 100 once, and you guys will hear about it soon, I'm sure.
That was a curveball. He went Jesus Christ instead, didn't he?
In the post-fight press conference, Jones finally admitted that Aspinall was a big risk.
I feel like I'm at a place now where, you know, like I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my value doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger. I want prayer.
Is Jon Jones ducking Tom Aspinall? If you enjoyed the video, check out times where cocky UFC fighters got completely humbled by their opponents.